The memorial lecture is presented as a key part of the day's activities to honor and commemorate the life and legacy of Ratu Sukuna. Leader, soldier, and statesman, he was the most distinguished indigenous Fijian of his generation. This narrative is taken from an account of his life and work in the publication 20th Century Fiji, People Who Shaped the Nation. The theme of the day, trust is the foundation of leadership, and destiny demands diligence. Brought up first according to protocol and practices of chiefly households on Bow Island, Ratu Sukuna obtained the best education one could get in his time. He saw active service in France in the First World War and was decorated for heroism by the French Foreign Legion. His early career in the civil service prepared him well for his work in the Native Lands Commission, determining and recording ownership and titles on land, the most sensitive of indigenous Fijian issues. It was a role for which he felt destiny had prepared him. In hindsight, he applied himself to this work with the diligence which historical responsibility required. When World War II broke out, he enlisted Fijian volunteers to fight for the crown against her enemies. Fijian soldiers acquitted themselves well in war, one of them, Corporal Sefanea Sukunevalu, posthumously winning the Victoria Cross. Ratu Sukuna saw active service as a rite of passage, marking the Fijians as ready to assume their destiny on their terms. He put in place protective measures to safeguard indigenous land, customs and traditions, heritable practices. In meetings of the Mbosilingu Waturanga, Great Council chiefs in the 1930s, at provincial council meetings and informal discussions, he overcame the chiefs' reluctance to cede control of their land to a statutory body established by the colonial government. He envisaged Indo-Fijians having access to land and secure tenure. The Native Land Trust Act of 1940 was based on Ratu Sukuna's proposal of engaging the three ethnic communities, Fijians, Europeans, and Indo-Fijians, in a partnership for the development of the colony. The statutory body was to hold native land in trust for the landowners. This monumental act of faith could not have been achieved without Ratu Sukuna's patience, persuasiveness, and leadership. From this summary, we can draw two significant lessons from his life and work, particularly for the benefit of young leaders. It has been said that in nearly 5 decades of public service, no scandal tainted him, and that he died with few earthly possessions to his name. The first lesson: no leader can break trust with the people and expect to keep influencing them. Trust makes leadership possible, and trust is formed by a leader's character, competence, and credibility. The creation of the Native Land Trust Board, now Itoke Land Trust Board, was a remarkable act of trust bestowed on Ratu Sukuna by the people. The second lesson: his knowledge of the customs and practices of the people has been described as encyclopedic, acquired from walking the length and breadth of Fiji. In peace and in war, he met the test of diligence which his destiny demanded. A leader perseveres and persists to fulfill his or her historical responsibility. Trust is the foundation of leadership, and destiny demands diligence.
And with our humble loyalty and duty to the throne and person of Your Majesty, we, the people of Fiji, today welcome Your Majesty and His Royal Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh, to this colony. Apart from the great pleasure which Your Majesty's visit gives to us all today, it will still further strengthen the bonds of affection and loyalty which bind us to the throne and person